Okay, good morning, everybody. Seahawk boy Mike Barra here with you today. Just wanted to do a quick video before it is Championship Sunday. Just wanted to do a quick video before we went into the championship games today, and wanted to remind everybody you can find me on Twitter X at Mike Barra 333. That's my regular Twitter account, and also my specifically Seahawks one at Seahawk boy Mike B. Twitter X is at Seahawk Boy Mike B. So find me there. All right. What I wanted to talk about today is I wanted to discuss what the Seahawks can do to get under the salary cap for 2024. As you know, right now they're a little over the cap for 2024. They have some expensive players who really aren't performing, and there are a multitude of tools that they can use to actually fix that stuff and to get into a better situation cap wise before free agency begins in March. And what we're going to talk about today on a pretty quick basis, I hope, is pretty much what are their best options for doing that? What would I do if I was the GM? How would I work things out? So let's slide over. We're going to actually use the over the cap tool, the cap calculator, to look at different things we can do to move around some money on the Seahawks cap situation. Okay, first of all, they've got some unrestricted free agents like Bobby Wagner, Damian Lewis, Noah Fant, guys they may want to resign. I personally kind of like Jason Peters, even though he's 42 years old. If they could get him cheap, I wouldn't mind bringing him back. But right now, the situation is that there are almost 4.5 million, 4.4 million over the cap for 2024. They've got 40 million in space in 2025 and nothing in 2026. Now, I think the first thing to do is you got two highly paid wide receivers. Right now, Tyler Lockett is 32 years old. He's hitting $27 million against the salary cap. And if you cut him, you save $7 million right away. DK Metcalf is $24.5 million over the salary cap. And if you cut him, you save only $1.5 million under the cap. So DK is still coming into his prime years. He's only 27. He's got at least the next 3 or 4 years of really prime ability. And I think, the Seahawks worked really hard to get 3 wide receivers. They have Tyler Lockett now. They have DK Metcalf, and they have this guy way down here. Where is he? Getting paid almost nothing. Jackson Smith, Nick Jigba. Okay. I don't think Najigba is ready yet to replace Tyler Lockett. I don't think he's as good as Tyler Lockett, and I think it would be a downgrade to the team. So what I would like to do ideally, if I was the GM, is find a way to keep Tyler Lockett. It's very tempting to cut him on a pre-June 1st basis, but if you were to go to the post-June 1st, you get 17 million in cap savings. So if you were to do that right away, we go to a positive in the cap room thing. On the other hand, I don't like that. I don't like that for a number of reasons. I think even though Lockett had some drop off in his performance this year, he had some uncharacteristic drops. He still can get the job done. I think he's still worth keeping around for another year or two. And as I said, I just don't think that Nick Jigba is ready to replace him. So what are you going to do with Tyler Lockett? That's a big issue that's going to come up, I think, pretty early in this whole situation. Well, one thing you can do is you can actually restructure him because he's got 2 years left. You can also do an extension or renegotiate. Honestly, I don't know enough about how the cap works to really do that. I know that Seahawks Brandon Nelson worked up a thing where you could save that $7 million under the cap by extending him for a year or two. But if we do a simple restructure, which a team can do without anybody's permission, you save $7 million under the cap right away. What that does is it increases his cap numbers for 2025 and 2026. You just accept the restructure. You save the $7 million, and then you're in positive space on the cap, $3.459 million. Now, the downside of that is that you are stuck with Tyler Lockett for the next couple of years because the dead money, if you cut him, is $9.85 million in 2024. But you bring him back for this year at least. And what would you save in 2025? You would save about $17 million in 2025. So it's a good deal for us. It's a good deal for him, and he gets paid money right away. His cap number drops from 27 million down to 19 million. That's a really good deal for the Seattle Seahawks. So I would look at definitely doing that to clear up the cap space. We're not going to extend him, probably. We're not going to sign him long term. His last 1 or 2 seasons as a Seahawk are probably coming up soon. Now, the issue of dead cap right now, a total existing dead cap is only 237,492. That is one of the smallest totals, I guarantee you, in the NFL. So we don't have any dead cap money. Here's the thing that we now know. If Jody Allen was going to sell the team anytime soon, she would not have fired Pete Carroll. She would have kept Pete Carroll and let the new owner come in and fire him. The fact that she pushed Pete Carroll out indicates to me that she's not planning on selling the team anytime soon. Even when we come up against this deadline, I think it's in June, where they can sell the team without having to pay 200 and some odd $million to King County. So the way I look at it is she's sticking around for a while as the owner. She wants to win. She probably wants to win another Super Bowl if she can before she sells the team. And one for her hubby. I could do anything the hubby can do, that kind of thing. So I don't think dead money is going to be an issue. She is still, along with Paul, as Paul Allen was, the richest owner in football. So dead money is not going to bother her if the intent is to move on and win a Super Bowl before she sells the team. So we've created now $3.45 million. That's not even going to cover our first round or our first round draft pick, probably, or even any of our draft picks. But there's lots of other things that we can do. Now, DK Metcalf, again, I would extend DK Metcalf. I would give him 2 extra years, but I don't want to go through all the machinations of that to reduce his cap number. What I'm going to say is what we're going to do with DK is we're also going to restructure him. It's going to save us 5.937. That's not really what they're going to do, but we're going to do it here anyway, just to clear the space. And now we have 9.397 million. That's plenty for signing all of our draft picks. Now the questions come. All right. We have 3 players, the low-hanging fruit, that are obvious to cut. If we cut Geno Smith, it's 13.8 million savings against the cap, almost 14 million. If we cut Jamal Adams, we save almost 6 million, but those 2 things would generate $37 million in dead money. And as I understand it, and I'm pretty sure I'm right about this, that means Jody Allen has to write 2 checks, one for 20 million, 20.8 million, and one for 17.4 million to those guys before they walk out of the building, as I understand it. And the same would apply to Quandre Diggs. However, the cap savings is what matters. I always hear this stuff about dead money. Unless the owner is broke, like Mark Davis, dead money doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is cap space. So the question becomes, what do you do at quarterback? Well, we're not going to know that until John Schneider makes his hire. If John Schneider hires McDonald from the Ravens, a defensive coach, we're not, it's not guaranteed we're going to get a quarterback in the draft or trade. If, however, we hire the offensive coordinator from Detroit, Campbell. Anyway, if we hire him, then I think we're going to do something at quarterback. And what that means is, why keep Geno Smith around? If you also do what I want the Seahawks to do, and if you instead do what I want them to do, which is to trade for Justin Fields from Chicago, because I think he has all kinds of untapped potential. He's already makes amazing plays out there. He's got 3 years of experience. He's still young. His legs are still fresh. His arm is fantastic. He makes some incredible throws. He's a veteran, and you don't ever have to sit there, on pins and needles saying to yourself, wow, I wonder if the guy we drafted, whether it's Michael Penix or Spencer Rattler, I wonder if that guy's ever going to be as good as Justin Fields is right now. You don't have to worry about that because Justin Fields still has upside, and he's never played with weapons. The only weapon he's ever had is wide receiver DJ Moore. Here, he would have Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, Jackson Smith-Njigba, and whoever we get at tight end, if we can maybe get Noah Fant back. And with a new offensive mind running the Seahawks, I think Justin Fields could flourish for the Seahawks. We shall see what they do about that. But let's assume they're going to go out and get a quarterback. Geno played not so great. He didn't play really any better. He played worse this year than he did last year. And that was fairly predictable, as I told a lot of people last year. Let's go to NFL. Let's not go to ESPN. Let's go to Pro Football Reference. As I tried to tell people last year, Geno Smith is probably among the best of the guys who aren't good enough when it comes to being a quarterback. And everybody was like, "Oh, well, did you see him in 2022? How fantastic he was!" And let's take a look at his 2022 season. In 2022, he played in, I believe, all of the games, and he ended up with team record for yards 4282 because he had an extra game that Russell Wilson didn't have. He threw 30 touchdowns against 11 interceptions, pretty good touchdown interception ratio of 1.9. And he had a quarterback rating of 100.9. Now, some people say QBR is important. QBR is bullshit. According to QBR, that Charlie, the Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback from 2011, had the best game in NFL history when he threw for 171 yards. That's garbage. QBR is bullshit. And I'll say this about rating, quarterback rate. Quarterback rating, I have never seen a quarterback have a great game and a bad passer rating. I've never seen a quarterback have a bad game and a good passer rating. So passer rating, to my mind, is really reliable. He had a 100.9 passer rating. All those things are really, really good. But as I told everybody, there has never been a situation in NFL history where a quarterback past the age of 30 has had a breakout career year and then repeated it. And, people always try to say Rich Gannon. Rich Gannon was MVP in 2002, 2003, 2002, and fell off the cliff the next year and was out of football in 2.5 years. So Rich Gannon is not an example of that. He had a couple good years followed by a great year where he won the MVP, and that was ridiculous. He never should have been the MVP over Tom Brady or Peyton Manning or somebody like that. But guys like Chris Mortensen with ESPN, who had a lot of clout, were pushing Gannon. And if you look at Rich Gannon's year, his MVP year, it was about as good as Jared. It was basically the same as Jared Goff's year last year, which was a Pro Bowl year, but not MVP year for sure. So I told everybody Geno is going to drop off in 2023. And everybody argued with me. They didn't need to draft a quarterback. They didn't need to trade up and get CJ Stroud. They didn't need to take Will Levis with the 5 pick or the 20 pick. They told me all these things, and they were all wrong, and I was right. You look at his 2023 stats, and he dropped off in basically every department. He missed a couple games with injuries because he's 32, 33, 34 now. His yards dropped way down to 36-24. His touchdowns, he dropped off 10 in the touchdowns from 30 to 20 and 9 interceptions. The touchdown to interception ratio was way up there. And his completion percentage also dropped by 5 points. 5 points. His passer rating went from 100.9 to 92.1. We are beginning to see the decline of Geno Smith. Now, having said that, I've seen Geno make some throws the last 2 years I didn't think he could make. I've seen him make some great throws that you never saw in his career before 2022. You never saw him do that. You got to like him. If he would come back and play for, say, 10 million or 15 million as the bridge quarterback for the next couple of years and stick around at that rate, I'd be happy to have him at that cap number. But I don't think that's going to be the case because his cap number is out of control, especially if you trade for Justin Fields. You don't need Geno Smith. You just need to find a backup quarterback maybe later in this draft to slip in behind Justin Fields. So if it's up to me, I am going to cut Geno Smith. I'm going to save $13.8 million under the cap. I'm going to tell him you are more than welcome to come back for a $15 million a year cap number for the next 2 years or even 3 years if you want to come back as a backup, but that's all you're going to be here. And if you don't like that, okay, fine. So that saves us $13.8 million under the cap. We now got $23,197. That's fairly easy. Another fairly easy cut is Jamal Adams. Now, if you cut Jamal Adams this year because of the ridiculous contract you gave him, you only save $6 million. But if you make this a post 6-1 cut, you save $16.5 million. The problem is you can't use that until after June 1st. And of course, free agency is all but over by the time the draft rolls around. But there are usually still some quality free agents out there after June 1st, guys that are waiting for it to come into a team late. And that $16.5 million covers all of your draft picks, slotting that you have to create space for, and the injured reserve that we hear all this crap. Every year it's like, well, the Seahawks don't really have that much cap space because, they have injured reserve to worry about. So I'm going to do a June 1st cut, and I am going to get rid of Jamal Adams and pay him 10 million in dead money, and then pay him in 25 million. I believe you're going to have him for another 10 million. So now we're up to 39.6 million in cap space. Quandre Diggs, same thing, except he's in the last year of his contract. His cap number is 21.262. That's ridiculous. I'm going to pay him, and I'm going to walk him out the door and save 11 million in cap space. Now, if he will play for that cap number, 10,262,000, if he'll renegotiate that and we'll give him, some fake years on the end of his contract, I wouldn't mind having Quandre Diggs back just so we don't have to go draft a safety this year, because I don't want to draft any safeties. I want to draft our next quarterback or trade for our next quarterback and draft nothing but offensive and defensive linemen and maybe a linebacker or two. I don't want to waste any picks on safeties. So now we get down to Draymond Jones. A lot of people want to cut Draymond Jones. I thought he played really pretty well. I'm going to give him a chance to come back. I'd like to reduce this number. I don't know exactly how I would do that. If I restructured him, it's not going to really save me that much. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to keep him right where he is, and we'll just leave it there. Keep him right where he is and bring him back. Now, the easy cuts to make. All of Pete Carroll's teacher's pets. Pete Carroll is gone. The Seahawks absolutely wasted $23 or $24 million in cap space over the last 2.5, 3 years on Will Dissly. Will Dissly is a fucking stiff. Okay, he's a stiff. He can't catch. He doesn't make any plays. Oh, he's a great blocker. Well, fuck blocking. He's a journeyman. There are a dozen Will Disleys out there sitting on the street who could come in and play for the NFL minimum. You cut him, you save another $7 million. He's gone. Julian Love is a tough call, but he's a safety. He's only 26 years old. He played pretty well at the end of the season. And if I have to team Quandre Diggs and Julian Love with some rookie safety I bring in, or even some cheap free agent I bring in after June 1st, I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm keeping him. And Uchenna Nwosu, no problem. We're keeping him. Devon Weatherspoon. Now, Jarran Reed. A lot of people want to get rid of Jarran Reed. I personally do not. He made a lot of plays this year. He's an inside pass rusher. He's 32. You can save 4.4 million, but that's not all that much. You're already up to 57,667,000, at least 40 of which is spendable this year. So I'm going to keep Jarran Reed because he's still a good, productive player, and he gets sacks in our system. We'll see what our system is after that. That's going to be up to the new coach, obviously. Brian Monet, another teacher's pet. They gave him a ridiculous contract. His cap number was $5.9 million for a guy who didn't even play. They shouldn't have even bothered to bring back. I'm cutting him immediately and saving $5.39 million. He gets $500,000 to walk out the door. Charles Cross, Jason Myers, Nick Bellore, 35, nothing but a special teams player, should never have spent a dime. The Seahawks last year spent $22 million in cap space on Nick Bellore, Jason Myers, Brian Monet, Will Dissly, and Drew Lock. That is ludicrous. We're up now to $66 million in cap space. Now the question becomes, anybody else we can get rid of here? Yeah, I hate Jason Myers. I think Jason Myers is a stiff. You can't count on him to make a kick in an important game, even in the second or third quarter. And you sure as heck can't count on him to make a game-winning kick. I mean, he occasionally does, but he's 33 years old. He's not that great. He's got a $5.5 million cap number because, again, of the ridiculous contract that Pete Carroll gave him. You actually lose money under the cap if you cut him. So he's going to be my second post 6-1 cut, and you can only make 2 a year. We're going to save $3.65 million. We got a lot of money to spend in free agency. So right there, boom, I just created $69.5 million in cap space, which the Seahawks can use to re-sign guys like, Michael Jackson. Maybe you want to bring Colby Parkinson back. Maybe you want to bring back, who's your top guy? Where's Leonard Williams? Where is he? Where's our guy? Oh, and one other cut I forgot. Dwayne Eskridge, absolute stiff, complete bust, terrible Pete Carroll pick. So we got 71 million to spend. Probably 20 million of that is after June 1st, but great. That covers your injured reserve, your draft picks, and 2 or 3 or 4 veteran free agents you bring in to fill your gaps. Now, we could save even more than this because you could extend Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf, but I just didn't want to go through all that hassle. So, and I mean, I would recommend you watch Seahawks Brandon Nelson's video on renegotiating and extending contracts, or I'll just steal that information and come in and do it again. So this is what I'm doing. If I can get Geno back for a $15 million cap hit, I'm probably doing it as a backup. If I trade for Justin Fields, if I have same thing, if I have a rookie quarterback. Look, here's the thing: if I go out and draft a rookie quarterback, if I end up drafting Penix or I end up drafting Spencer Rattler and they have to sit for a while and learn, I'd rather just spend another $4 million on Drew Lock or spend a little money on Carson Wentz as my bridge quarterback than spend $15 million on Geno Smith, because you can get those guys for about $4 or $5 million. In fact, let's before I go here, let's do a quick slide over. Let's go over to the Rams cap calculator and look at, I don't know if they signed Wentz to just a deal for just the rest of the year, or and again, all the advertisements come flying up. No, I don't want to learn more. Yeah, okay, Carson Wentz is a free agent. So they're not going to franchise him. They're not going to do anything with him. When free agency starts, I'm bringing in Carson Wentz as my bridge quarterback for 2 years, 10 or $15 million, $5 million guaranteed. Say, Carson, come on in and compete, and let's go Hawks while we draft a new quarterback and go forward. Okay, that's it. That's what I have got for you guys today. Thanks for being here. I'm going to predict the Ravens and the 49ers. And of course, there's a conspiracy about the Ravens and the 49ers. The whole world is rooting for the Detroit Lions. I'm rooting for them to win it all. The Detroit Lions would be a marvelous story if they were able to win. I don't think they're quite good enough, but you never know. Teams can really surprise you. Again, Twitter X at SeahawkBoyMike B. I'm going to activate that Twitter a little bit more. Thanks for listening. Let me know what you think in the comments. Make sure you like and subscribe. And I appreciate each and every one of you, if there are any of you. Thanks for being here. I'm going to end the stream. You're the best. Bye.